Even this morning, nearly 60 hours later, Democrats cannot contain their glee.
After 14 failed votes and a very dramatic Friday night on Capitol Hill, Kevin McCarthy is the Speaker of the House this morning. The California Republican won the gavel late last week on his 15th try after finally reaching a deal with the detractors from his own party that involved several major concessions to the far-right Freedom Caucus.
With us now, the congressman you saw in the middle of that fray, Tim Burchett of the great state of Tennessee. Nice to see you, sir. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Is the only winner here in all of this President Biden and Democrats who just get to keep pointing at you guys?
No, absolutely not. As a matter of fact, all Matt Gaetz wanted was a delay so he could read the rules. There wasn't ever any change. Matt Gaetz wouldn't take a vice chairmanship of a committee that's left for people like me. So, and reality is that the American public will be well served. These rules actually mimic very closely what we have in the Tennessee legislature. Things like transparency, conservatives guaranteed a position on committees that make decisions where we're making fiscal issues, where we're hiding fiscal issues in bills. The Rules Committee is the one that everyone keeps talking about, where they were allowed to put 2 or 3 more members on that are conservative and have a fiscal background that would keep this country afloat. And so it's all good things, actually.
No, fair enough. And look, it's taking, as much as people are trying to make this sort of showing that the House is in disarray, the new Republican rules package, it's sort of taking the House back to the way the founders envisioned it, which is that individual representatives get to vote on things. You get 72 hours before you get to see a bill, and on and on and on. The difference is the Tennessee legislature does not have the focus of 4 major cable news networks all peering down on everything they do. By way of saying, is the House able to operate with old rules and the new media?
Absolutely, 100%. As a matter of fact, the public should feel empowered with all this. Under these new rules, Speaker McCarthy, I believe, will emerge in a very good light with the public in short order. Just as tonight, our votes were done in record time, where it would have taken the Democrats, we would have been there all night just waiting to vote on these three or four bills that we just did. So I think it's going to actually improve what's going on. We're actually even going to try to improve access to the media on the House floor, which I think the public enjoyed. And I believe the more input by the public, the better it will be. And I think that's what you're going to see with this. And it will be in short order. You know, we took 4 days to debate who the 3rd most powerful person is in the country, if not the world. And we had more debate and more interaction on the House floor than we had in the previous 4 years under Speaker Pelosi, who actually had clipped all the rules. The rule that the motion to vacate, that was on the books since the 20s, and that was one of the first things that she stopped. So I don't think we're going to have a problem with that. I think you should be able to address it. If your speaker gets out of line, you ought to be able to bring them up and throw them out. So I think we're going to be in good shape under these rules, and I think the American public will be well served. And I believe the Democrats are just making hay because they're in lockstep. And it doesn't take much Googling to see who else is lockstep in this world. But
I'm going to merge your two places here. Meet GOP's newly crowned comedy king. This is from Politico. You have a new title, but at the same time, okay, I think reasonable people can agree that what we saw on Friday night, what you witnessed and were in the middle of, it's just not a good look for the GOP, who says they're the ones who are going to hold the president to account, and they don't seem to have their own house in order. No pun intended.
We're in order. We're in order. I believe you're going to see. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. I mean, my gosh, most of those folks are very old, and they'd missed their nap, and they were angry. They'd missed the early bird special at the Sizzler, and and then tempers flare, as they say, and that's what happened. Matt's not even mad at Rogers for getting on him like that. And Rogers doesn't even drink. So people get ticked off. That's what they do. But the original founders, they had some pretty close. I mean, they had duels back in those days. We're not quite to that point.
Duels and canings. Imagine if they had cable news back then.
Yeah, I mean, it's just what we call that in the Tennessee legislature. It's just another Tuesday. So
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.